I have a job at a small store in our area, kind of like a smaller version of a 7-Eleven. I start working really early at 3 a.m. and finish at 1 p.m. My boss said these hours are calm and less busy. I thought it sounded good, so I decided to give it a try. My work is pretty straightforward. I assist customers, arrange products on shelves, and handle the garbage. Most days, it's not very exciting. The store where I work is located at the corner of the shopping area. Right now, it's winter, but where I am, it's raining gently instead of snowing. In the calm mornings, I relax outside, leaning against the building and secretly smoking. I'm aware I shouldn't do it, but since nobody is around, I go ahead. There are about 8 or 9 other shops nearby, but they don't open until later, usually around 6 or 7. One day, while I was taking a break and smoking, a car drove into the area. I thought they might come to the shop where I work. I finished my cigarette and went back inside, getting ready to continue my usual routine, feeling a bit bored. Strangely, no one came into the shop from the car. After some time passed, I took a quick look outside. The car was still there, but there was nobody inside it. It was raining lightly, and all the other nearby stores were closed. I was confused, wondering where the people from the car had gone. I didn't know, so I just shrugged and went back inside. I thought a lot of time had passed without anything exciting going on. I looked at the clock and realized only an hour had gone by. I thought I'd do something to pass the time, so I went to throw out the garbage. While I was outside, I heard a small clicking noise. Because it was raining and the place was old, I thought it was just a sound from the building. I went outside to put the trash away, and suddenly it started raining heavily. Just my luck, right when I had to be outside. After I was done, as I was heading back inside, I noticed something strange. The store beside ours had its door open. That was odd because it's usually closed at this time in the morning. I moved closer to the place and peeked inside. It was really dark and the doors were locked, just like they usually are. I thought about it for a moment, and then said to myself, why not? So I decided to go in and take a look. It was dark inside too, but I could hear someone moving around. I thought it might be someone from the nearby store, so I called out to them. I didn't get a response, and that made me realize something was wrong. I hurried outside and saw that the door handle was broken, keeping the door open. I quickly went back to my shop, locked everything, and called 911 and my boss. I listened at the wall and heard a lot of noise from the neighboring place. The police arrived fast with their sirens on. The person inside must have noticed because they started to panic and move around quickly. Then I heard loud voices, probably the police. I went outside and saw something pretty wild. The guy the police caught had a bag with lots of valuable things inside. He had tools to open doors and had tried to break into a nearby store. They found marks on our door too, like he tried to get in there before. I don't think he knew I was home because the lights were on, so he probably skipped our place. It was a really unexpected and crazy day. I never imagined that my early morning work shift would turn into something like this. I used to drive big trucks for a company that helped families move to new homes far away. I did this job for a long time, more than 10 years, and for about 4 years, I focused on moving families across the country. Once I had to move a family from a town in lower Tennessee all the way up to upper Michigan. It wasn't the longest drive I've ever done, but it still took a whole day to get there. Everything was going as planned until I reached a long road in Illinois. It was really late at night, and all around were farms and empty roads. That's when I saw something weird, a light blinking in the distance. When I got closer, I saw 2 cars parked across the road, completely blocking it. I stopped my car when I saw a surprise blockage on the road. It felt strange, and I got a bad feeling in my stomach. One of the cars had blinking emergency lights, but there was nobody nearby. I started thinking about what could have happened. Was there a crash? Was it planned? I had no idea what was going on. I sat in my truck for a really long time, feeling nervous and waiting for something to happen. But there was no noise, just quiet. Eventually, I got brave enough to go check the other cars. I had a little gun hidden in my truck, just in case something bad happened. I really hoped I wouldn't have to use it. I walked carefully, looking around, and went towards the car with blinking lights on the side of the road. The car's door was open, which seemed strange to me. I took a quick look inside. It was very neat. I pushed the car, and it moved easily, making space for my truck to pass through. When I looked back at my truck, I got a scary feeling. I heard a voice far away, and then I saw a person running towards me with two others following, holding something. I felt really scared and ran back to my truck, feeling super pumped up. I drove past them fast, hoping they wouldn't do something dangerous. I got away without getting hurt and found a signal to call the police. I told them what happened, feeling both relieved and still scared. But the strange part was, when the police couldn't find anything, the cars that caused trouble disappeared, but later they were found abandoned in a town nearby after a few days. Something weird happened next. The police found out the cars I saw were actually stolen a week before I saw them. They found fingerprints, but they didn't match anyone they knew. It seemed like the person who did it had never been caught before. But then, something surprising happened. The police found similar things happening in other places. They saw a pattern of group tricking drivers by faking car problems and then robbing them on quiet roads. These people were organized, hard to find, and knew how to disappear without anyone knowing where they went. Months passed, but the police couldn't find any clues about what happened. The group involved in the mystery seemed to vanish completely. Because there wasn't enough proof, the case stopped being investigated. This made me and other drivers nervous because we didn't know what dangers might be out there on the quiet roads. The rainy nights were the worst. The noise of rain hitting the roof of the truck reminded me of a scary night in Illinois. That night became a story for other drivers, warning them that danger can show up anywhere. Even now, I can't forget the strange roadblock. It reminds me that even a normal job like driving a truck can have hidden dangers at night. It's scary to think about, and it makes every trip a bit more stressful. Before I continue to the next story, if you are interested in earning from YouTube without showing your face, or without making videos by yourself using artificial intelligence, like the video that you are watching right now, then I have a special free training for you. Check the first link in the description below to get instant access. I used to work at a hotel, and let me tell you, I found myself in some really strange situations. One night, while I was working at the front desk, I noticed this guy. He wasn't exactly doing anything bad, but he seemed very suspicious to me. So this guy walked by my desk a bunch of times, like 5 times. I eventually asked if he needed something, but he just gave me a mean look, turned away fast, and kept going. It was strange, you know? But I didn't call security because I didn't have a good reason to do so. That man seemed like he was looking for something, or maybe he was making me feel really uncomfortable. Later, he left the place, and I thought that was the end. But it turns out that was just the start of the whole thing. After about 5 minutes, the phone in the hotel rang. I answered and said, "Hello, how can I help you?" But I didn't hear anything back, just someone breathing heavily. I asked again if anyone was there, but there was no response. I thought it might be a silly joke, so I ended the call. It was bothersome, but it's something that happens often at the hotel, people making these kinds of calls for no reason. After a short while, the phone rang again. This time I was really annoyed because of a prank call earlier. This time, a lady was on the line, screaming for help. She said she was in the parking lot wearing a red dress and couldn't move because a car hit her and drove away. She described a tall, bald, middle-aged man in a black coat and blue jeans. What's weird is that this matches the guy who seemed suspicious earlier. It was creepy. I wondered why she called the hotel instead of the police. But she was desperately asking for help, so even though I felt uneasy, I decided to go outside and check what was going on. When I went outside, it was raining hard. Before going to the parking lot, I wanted to look around. I searched and finally saw a woman wearing a red dress, alone at first. But then I noticed something strange. She wasn't crying or in pain. She was talking to someone, and suddenly the guy she was talking to was behind a car. It was the same suspicious guy I saw before. Then, The woman walked a little away from the car, fell to the ground, and started yelling like she was badly hurt. This person saw something suspicious, and when the other person noticed they were being watched, they hurried to call the police, but found out that their phone didn't have any signal. They felt unlucky because they couldn't call for help. Now they're stuck in a difficult situation. It's raining heavily, making it hard to see anything clearly. They're considering running to the closest place that might have a phone to call for help, but they're worried about leaving the hotel empty. They're concerned about what those two suspicious people might do while they're away. Suddenly, both of them disappeared without a trace. I couldn't see them anywhere, and it made me really anxious because I didn't know if they were hiding and watching me. I was trying to decide what to do next when I heard a car coming closer, but the rain made it hard to see. I was scared they might have returned, but I knew I couldn't stay still. So I took a risk and ran as fast as I could towards the nearest building, hoping they wouldn't notice me. When I got there, out of breath, I found a phone. I needed help, but I couldn't call anyone because the phone didn't work. It was raining, and I was stuck without any way to contact anyone. I was really scared and hoped someone else would come by, or those two people wouldn't return. I waited for a while, really scared, but they never showed up again. Finally, the rain started to calm down, and I carefully went back to where I was staying. I haven't seen those two people since that rainy night. But you know what? That whole experience really frightened me. Even now, I can't stop thinking about it and wondering what those two were doing.